We live now in the age of information, and information is great. But information and experience are two different things. If you read about love or boundaries or sex, it's not the same as having the actual experience. And I really love the experience of energy, and energy is one of those things. You can have it by yourself. You can have a profound spiritual experience by yourself. But one of the hardest things I find about energy is that how do you handle it in real life? Like if you are super sensitive, you know what people are thinking, you see the future, you see dead people hanging around them. How do you handle that? And how do you handle your feelings? Because even when you're on a Zoom group or call, which is at least better than reading about something, you have to be able to handle your internal feelings about what you're perceiving versus what someone else is perceiving. Then when you share something and you feel the reaction, and sometimes people are going, no, it's fine, but you feel that they are not fine, they just got triggered. How do you handle all of that? My favorite resource for the psychology end of this, by the way, is The Holistic Psychologist. Her videos, her books, her online self-healer circle is fantastic for learning things on a platform. They're really fantastic. And for myself, though, I like to offer people the experience, preferably in a group setting, because even one-on-one, if you have an embarrassing experience with me, it's just with me, one person. Also, if you're codependent, whenever you work with an authority figure, such as a therapist, a teacher, or just someone you admire, some people pleasing is going to jump into your sessions. And that is very awkward. And it still doesn't take care of issues you might have in being around a group of people, which is life. You know, it's the workplace, it's social events, family reunions, etc. So I do like to work in groups. I have live meditation groups, and now I'm doing online Zoom groups. I much prefer being in person, but life has changed a lot. So in a group, because we know that energy travels, I still study with a meditation teacher, a main one. There's other people I've worked with. And the reason I work with them is because their energy field enhances my experience. They're not a book. They're not a bunch of sayings. They're not just intellectual material. They have an impact on me. And I realize that I have that same impact on people as well. What I have to say can be very helpful. But I find accounts like The Holistic Psychologist amazing. She has great information for psychology. So I'm not discounting what I have to offer intellectually, and my intellectual side was developed through a PhD, but I much more live from my intuitive side, my ability to be in the field with people, in that big field, not just telepathy, not just clairvoyance, but in a space where different things happen that don't happen so often in life, especially when you're around muggles. So I want to encourage people who feel that they are super sensitive or they don't quite fit in to come join a group. So not only do you get to practice, you get to experience, you get feedback, you might make friends in the group as well. But most of all, you get to experience those transitions, like of coming out of a vision and now you have to talk, or getting very triggered and very emotional while you're connecting with someone who crossed over. And how do you handle that? What do you do when you're in a group and you're trying to work on something and all the group vibes are getting to you? These are all things that we can talk about till the day you die, but that's not going to help you get through the actual experience. And I know this for myself. I have done so much work on myself. I continue to study with a teacher. I continue to do what started off as inner child work, self-parenting, that morphed into IFS, internal family systems and parts work, which I was doing before I found out that was an official thing. And me having an actual practice makes all the difference in the world. One of the things I have found out in the area that I'm in, where people are pretty much anti-psychology, I literally was invited to give a little talk to people who are interested in alternative things and new age things and mediumship and remote healing, iridology, things like that. But I was told, stay away from psychology. I almost fell off my chair because seriously, if you're really sensitive and you have gifts and talents and you could read energy, if you have triggers from trauma, if your body is poisoned from all the chemicals you use, and when I say poison, we're talking about neurotoxins, brain poison, endocrine disruptors, which regulate your hormonal system, and so much more. And then you're getting all this wonderful universal information, but it's getting filtered through a dirty water system, basically. So it's kind of like, that mountain stream water, and it goes through a sewer and then it comes out of your tap. So how can you be so sensitive and tied in and not work on the human vessel that's getting this? The second part of that also is that I see a lot of people, again, out in this area where they are anti-psychology, kind of anti-intellectual for the most part. The super sensitive people are massively overweight. They have a sugar addiction, or they can't have orgasms, or they're OCD. I mean, there's just so many things that are making their life miserable, but they have a talent, they have a gift. And I personally don't want to be miserable and then have all these wonderful things I can do. I want both. I want to be able to use what I have, and I want to also have a really good human life. Since I'm in a body, I eat food, I hang around people, I want to be able to go out and play and have a good life. I also want to say that a lot of people don't know what they can do. They don't know how intuitive they are. They don't understand how much they feel. Lots of people come to me here, and for at least the first few months, and sometimes up to about 2 years, they will be coming to a class and we do meditation and people share, and then one or two people say, I don't feel anything. And they don't. They literally don't. Because if you're shut down because of trauma or some issue, you don't get to just shut down one thing like fear. Everything gets shut down. If you're depressed and you shut that down, everything is shut down. So then after a while, these folks who say they feel nothing discover they feel something. And usually how it happens is everybody's sharing and that person goes, well, I felt upset. And I'll say, you felt something, because we were sitting in silence. That's the main way we work, is in silence with energy. And in the silence, that means your stuff's going to come up. There's no music, there's no words to guide you. There's no way to occupy your brain. Your brain is going to go to places like wounds and triggers. So I will always say to that person, do you understand? You just said you felt something. And it was so subtle. Every time the person, their entire face just kind of lights up like, oh my God, you're right. And that is the beginning of them finding a lost side of themselves. What internal family systems, we might say, is an exiled part or parts. So you don't have to come to groups or work with me because you're talented and you should be a psychic and make a living. But maybe you just feel like you're missing something, or you feel some things and you're not sure what they are, or you wish you could tune into something bigger. You wish you had that sort of psychic energy. You might have it. It's just the sewer system, meaning your body, your energy, your emotions, etc., might be clouding up the waters. So working with someone whose energy field can affect your energy field, that is really the key. That is the missing link that just pure reading, pure energy won't get you to. I used to work with this guy. I can't find him anymore. I hope he's still alive. He worked with a little chiropractic group. His name was Walter. The man did not charge any money. And you would just call Walter up, and if you could get him, he'd go, how can I help you? And he was at work or something. I mean, he'd answer the phone day and night, and you could tell he was at work. And you'd start to tell him something, and he'd go, that's enough. He didn't want to hear your story, your drama, your emotions. He just needed to get like a point to tune into. And then he'd say, okay. And then you'd be quiet for about 30 seconds. And he'd go, okay, we're done. And he'd hang up the phone. He cured a kind of toxic, I don't know if it was physical, energetic, but I was like sickly for quite a while. I had worked with remote healers. I'm healthy myself. I eat organic, etc. I could not get rid of this thing. That phone call cleared me up, like forever, like there was never a repeat. So I got to do a number of phone calls with him, which I'll never forget. I'll never forget working with him. On one of them, I closed my eyes, and I don't know why he said it, but he said, go into the field. Okay, so my video got interrupted with a call, so I'm going to back up a little. I'm not sure where it ended, and I'm terrible at editing, so I'm just going to paste these videos together. So one day I was talking to Walter, and he said, close your eyes, and he said, and just go into the field. And I knew what he was talking about, and I went there, and I was in a different space-time continuum is the only way I can describe it. And his reaction was, holy crap, do you see where you're at? And I said, yeah, this is where I go all the time. He goes, this is amazing. Like, no one goes here. Apparently he did. So from that point on, I would go into the field with him. And in 10 to 30 seconds, I could do what he did. And I could do it for myself. I could do it for others. I cannot describe it to you because there's no description. It was just pure energy in silence. And it was so much fun, but also it restored a lot of sanity to me because he validated an experience that no one else could validate, and I couldn't describe it. So I just did it and just thought, well, I don't really know what this is, but going out into the field. I mentioned in another video, if you want to know what that is, my favorite book on this is The Field by Lynn McTaggart, McTaggart, I believe. She's a journalist, so she writes about physics in a way that us mere mortals can understand. So I will never forget Walter. He never charged a dime. How can you charge money for fixing a chronic problem in 30 seconds in silence? I mean, you couldn't make a living at it because who's going to pay you money for 30 seconds, right? Which cracks me up because it's kind of the same problem I have always had with doing this for a living. When I did it as a secret agent, I was fine with it. I had a salary from being a professor or educating gang kids or whatever else, working with special ed, severely emotionally disturbed kids, etc. But doing this for a living, I have to charge money. And whew, that's still a big challenge for me. But I will never forget Walter. At one point I heard he went into the hospital with a heart attack, and I could never find him again. He never answered his phone, never said his number changed, but what a gift. I had maybe 10 or 15 phone calls with that man, and I will never forget it. I'm hoping that if you come work with me, come to a group, that your world will open up for you as well, that you will find your version of the field, that you will find and get validated and get comfortable with working with energy and working kind of outside the space-time continuum of Earth in a way that you can bring it into Earth, that you can bring it to your job, to your children, to your loved ones, and most of all to you, so you can ride the waves of Muggle life a little bit easier. Like a great surfer, you can read the ocean. You can tell the good waves, the waves to let them go by. And you don't get overwhelmed by the ocean. Instead, you very much get in the rhythm of it. And it's a really, really different way of living. I think that's all I can say about it for now. And I'm hoping the groups take off. And if not, Spirit will show me something else. So thanks for listening. Hope to see you. Check out my website. Check out the groups. They're free in March. Then we're going to groups that will be closed and will cost money. I'm trying to keep the cost down. And that's it. See you later.